What's good, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. I am Kenya right now, and today I will be interviewing Pablo Alvarez, the founder and operations director of Real City Tours. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Pablo and this is Real City Tours. It's, I think, a couple of variables that is hard to find in other tours. First of all, we are not students. Usually the walking tours are just students, or they are looking for an alternative job to make some money. We all are professionals. We all have had experience in previous fields. We are engineers, designers, communicators, biologists. Like, we are all professionals and in very different fields. That's one thing. Another thing is that we go beyond of showing the sights. For us, like, our technique is storytelling, or storytellers. We take the streets and we make a theater out of it. So our tours, more than walking around, is basically a play where we interact with the rest of the city. I'm originally an engineer, and I worked for a couple of years in Europe as an engineer in Budapest. Then I say, well, I would like to go back to Colombia and open my company in engineering. But now that I'm in Europe, maybe I can study some business. So I moved to France, I studied business, and when I thought I was ready to move back to Colombia and open my company, I returned. That was in the year 2013. Still, I had to finish my master's degree dissertation. While I was writing that, I didn't want my English to get rusty. So I said, well, maybe while I finish my dissertation, I can show the city around to foreigners, because when I left Colombia, there were no foreigners, there were basically no tourists, and when I came back 4 years after that, there were many. So like, all right, maybe I can show them the city. I noticed that basically they were staying in a poblado area, and that they were coming, like, basically to do one activity that was tours about Pablo Escobar. And I say, well, maybe I can practice my English, I can show them the city center, and I can tell them that the city goes way beyond than him, that he does not define who we are. So that's just how it started. I just wanted to practice my English. And while doing that, I discovered that I absolutely loved it, and that it was extremely fulfilling. And also people told me they liked it, and I believed them. So I just kept doing it, and here is where my two academic experience meet, because as an engineer you're trained to solve and optimize, and in business school they teach you to let's say, take advantage of business opportunities, and they teach you models to be able to construct something. So I first started optimizing the tour and optimizing the system, and then I say, well, you know what, this could be a great business opportunity, and I'm loving it. So let's do it. Yeah, it means that behind the tour that you see, the tourists, there are a lot of numbers. That as an engineer, you're trained to look at numbers. You're trained to look at the world and describe the world by numbers. So there are a lot of statistics that it would be very boring if I start disclosing. But it's just, you find statistics, you find variables, and then you start measuring them. And then when you see a pattern, you say, all right, this variable, I need to optimize it. How can I change it? And then you start modifying things in order to optimize that variable. So there is something that's constant, like from the tour 0 to the current tour that is almost the tour 4000, and it's the passion that has not changed. The passion is the same, the love for the city is the same, the honesty we want to incorporate, to be able to talk about the pretty and the not so pretty. That has not changed. Besides that, many things have changed. For instance, the route, it used to be in an opposite direction than what it is now. It used to be longer. We used to include like some stories were together, and then there are like some things. Then you started splitting until you trim it, you fine tune it until you say, okay, this is the optimal. Let's say more than the question itself, sometimes is the way the question is asked. Because there are some questions that they come like in a very condescending way, and you know that I don't remember the name of the philosopher, but they say there are some questions that are very offensive because they bring the answer they want to hear, all right? And this particularly happens a lot with the topic of Narcos and Pablo Escobar, that people, by watching Narcos, they think they already know how it was, or they are absolutely convinced that what Narcos say is true. And then let's say it pushes our buttons. Let's say each guy has different buttons, but particularly to me, that I am still a guy, it pushes my buttons when people ask, when they just want to confirm something that is not real, but they are desperate to hear that confirmation. All right. So more than a question itself is to come with an attitude that a show, a TV series, is telling the truth. And then when they come and say, no, dude, that was not that simple, and then they kind of get like offended, or they get mad, or they say, this is such a bad tour there. So that's a little bit. That's a little bit. Yeah. Or it's in general always the topic of drugs. What is and for me, like an easy way to understand it, or that's the way like at least I understand it, is that let's say the cocaine is seen through different symbols in different cultures. All right, for some cultures, cocaine is fun because it's used under context of fun, a party or whatever, all right? For Colombians, cocaine does not have that symbolism. Cocaine, I used to say, is not a white powder for us, it's red, it's stained with our blood, or it's green, it's stained with the hundreds of thousands of hectares of tropical forest that has been destroyed to grow the coca leaves. So there is a clash when people come with a certain, let's say, fun attitude towards something that is so painful for us. And let's say the topic itself is not bad. The questions itself, there are no problem with the questions themselves. It's the attitude when the question is asked. Yeah, we personally believe in the power of history and in the power and the healthy healing power of talking about history. So once again, it's not about the topic, it's not about the what, it's about the how. All right. So when someone comes and wants to learn, like, it's absolutely fine. It's something that happened in our history. It's a chapter that unfortunately now we are known by that chapter, and it's absolutely natural that you want to understand. And it's not even foreigners, also like teenagers nowadays, they want to know what happened. Right? So it's absolutely normal curiosity that has been, like that curiosity is multiplied because of the pop culture right now. So it's fine when people want to learn about them. Once again, what is tough is when they think is fun, when they think is something we love or something we are proud of. That I'm not gonna deny. There are people in Colombia who see that chapter with different perspective, with a glamorous perspective. All right, but for us, it's not. Let's say it's not that simple. Of, oh no, it was awesome and he was very powerful. No, it's like all the guides. This is important to say. All the guides in the company, by policy, must be from the city. We lived those days. We remembered those days. So that makes it for us that we understand it's not such a fun topic. So what is tough is when they come and say, oh yeah, let's have fun, or let's buy a t-shirt of him because it's so cool, because that's what is painful for us, not the topic itself. Alright, so the name is very interesting because the name was actually given by our customers. So, if you remember when I told you the story of how we began, this didn't begin as a company. It began as a project for one person to speak English. That's it. So, I was at the end of the tour. I used to go and drink beers with people, with the tourists, and then we kept talking. And I remember that constantly people at the end were saying, "Thank you for showing me the real city. Thank you for taking me out of Poblado and showing me the real side of the city." All right? It came constantly. So by the time I say, all right, you know what, this might be my project, my company, and I start thinking about names that say, well, you know what, people always say these things, and then I say, okay, this is the name. So that's basically how the name came. I think it's part of the values, right? It's part of who we are, and you don't change who you are. At least not like that, you know. And yeah, that has been like another of the core values. It's been the passion, and the other is, like, the honesty to be able to tell both sides of the story. When we don't know something, we say, I don't know. There is no taboo about stuff like that. The first one is a better understanding of Colombia, both of our tragedies, but also of our achievements, all right? And also as who we are as a culture, as people, and the diversity that we have. And in a more abstract level, I will say inspiration to tell the world or the people understand that it's possible to change, and it's possible to change in good direction. That is not easy. It's not just like from one day to another. In a more abstract level, what we want is to send a message of transformation. All right, a message that despite the situation, there is always a chance to get better, and that Medellin is a testimony of that, resilience and that change. And it's a guideline that we have through all our tours. We have 3 tours, and in all of them, in a way or another, what we want to show is that despite there are bad things, and being honest about them, we can also show that it's better off than how we used to be. And we want to show that that's not just happened by chance. It has happened because we have done things to achieve that.